In 1957, a Princeton physicist proved that every choice you make creates a parallel universe where you made the opposite choice. That physicist was ridiculed, dismissed, and ignored. 60 years later, every single experiment trying to disprove him failed. And here's what nobody tells you about parallel timelines. The version of your life you're trying to manifest isn't in your future. It already exists right now on a parallel timeline. You're not broken. You're not blocked. You're not vibrating wrong. You're just tuned in to the wrong frequency, like a radio stuck on static when the song you want is playing perfectly on another station. And I can prove it to you. Because in the next 60 minutes, you're going to see the published research showing your heart generates an electromagnetic field 60 times stronger than your brain, a field that selects which timeline you experience. The measurable science of how quantum particles exist in multiple states simultaneously until you observe them, and why your consciousness is doing this every microsecond, and the exact protocol used by neuroscientists to reprogram your nervous system's baseline reality so your body stops sabotaging your timeline shifts. Before we go deeper, fair warning, this content is activational. As you watch, you might feel tingling in your hands, sudden emotion, maybe even anger or resistance. That's not anxiety. That's your nervous system recognizing truth your mind has been denying. If you're feeling that right now, even slightly, that's your signal. You're ready for this. So here's what I need you to do. Turn off distractions, get comfortable, and commit to the next hour, because what you're about to learn will collapse the gap between the life you're living and the timeline you're meant to inhabit. Let's begin. What makes this approach different is that we're going to bridge 3 dimensions of understanding that are rarely brought together: the science of consciousness, quantum timeline theory. This isn't metaphysics. This is quantum physics applied to consciousness. We're going to explore the measurable, provable mechanics of how the observer effect doesn't just collapse possibilities, it selects timelines. Every physicist knows particles exist in superposition until observed. What they don't tell you is that your consciousness is doing this constantly, selecting which version of reality becomes your lived experience. Energy, self-care as timeline, navigation. Your biofield, the electromagnetic field generated by your heart and brain, isn't just energy floating around you. It's a navigation system. It's your quantum antenna, constantly broadcasting a frequency that determines which timeline you lock into. This isn't luxury spiritual practice. This is the technology of conscious reality selection, natural magic, working with the architecture of reality. The universe isn't random. It has structure. Timelines follow geometric patterns. Possibilities organize themselves according to natural laws. Sacred geometry, Fibonacci sequences, harmonic resonance. When you understand how to work with these patterns instead of against them, timeline shifting becomes as natural as tuning a radio. When you bring these 3 together, something extraordinary happens. You don't just change your thoughts. You don't just raise your vibration. You literally step sideways into a parallel timeline where the problems you're facing simply don't exist. Because on that timeline, you already made different choices. Before we go deeper, I need to tell you something. This content is activational. As you watch, you may feel tingling in your hands or feet. You may feel emotional, tears, laughter, sudden anger. You may feel a deep sense of yes, finally, or a sudden urge to change something in your life immediately. You might even feel dizzy or disoriented as your nervous system begins to recognize that reality is far more fluid than you've been taught. That's not anxiety. That's not fear. That's your system recognizing truth. That's your higher self saying, yes, this is what I've been waiting for. Trust what you feel in your body more than what you think in your mind. Your body knows which timeline is yours. Let's begin the journey from pattern to possibility. Let's explore the complete architecture of parallel realities. For the last several years, I've been diving deep into the intersection between quantum physics, neuroscience, and practical spirituality. Not as a mystic disconnected from reality, but as someone seeking truth, whether that truth lives in physics laboratories or ancient healing practices. And what I've discovered has fundamentally changed everything I thought I knew about how reality works. Here's what most spiritual teachers won't tell you, and what most scientists refuse to acknowledge. Consciousness isn't a product of matter. Consciousness is matter. Consciousness is the fundamental substance of reality, and matter is how consciousness expresses itself in form. This isn't philosophy. In 1935, Albert Einstein published a paper with Podolsky and Rosen trying to prove that quantum mechanics was incomplete. What they discovered instead broke physics forever. Particles can be entangled across any distance, instantaneously affecting each other. Change one, the other changes, no matter how far apart they are. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance and hated it. But decades of experiments proved it's real, it's measurable, it's the foundation of quantum computing today. And here's the question that changes everything. If particles of matter can be entangled across space and time, why wouldn't timelines be entangled? Why wouldn't versions of you across parallel realities be quantum entangled with the you sitting here right now? What if you're not separate from those other versions? What if you're constantly exchanging information with them, bleeding through the boundaries between timelines? Today, you're going to receive the complete map. Here's what we'll cover. Part A1, the many worlds interpretation, the science of infinite you. You'll discover the actual quantum physics that proves parallel timelines exist, why every choice creates branching realities, and why the version of you reading this is just one expression of infinite simultaneous yous. Part A2, timeline entanglement, how your parallel selves communicate. We'll explore the measurable phenomenon of quantum coherence, how information bleeds between timelines, and why your intuition might actually be messages from your higher timeline selves. Part A3, frequency architecture, the map of reality selection. You'll learn how different emotional frequencies literally tune you into different timelines, why the same event can lead to completely different outcomes based on your state of consciousness, and how to identify which timeline you're currently locked into. Part A4, the biofield as timeline antenna, your quantum navigation system. I'll show you the science of your electromagnetic field, how your heart generates a measurable field that extends 3 to 5 feet beyond your body, and how this field is your primary tool for timeline navigation. Part A5, practical timeline shifting protocols, the complete method. You'll receive step-by-step techniques for identifying your desired timeline, matching its frequency, and creating quantum coherence between your three brains, head, heart, gut, to lock into that reality. Part A6, natural timeline anchors, working with Earth's quantum field. We'll explore how to use lunar cycles, seasonal transitions, and the Earth's electromagnetic field as anchor points for timeline shifts, and why certain moments in natural time create portals for easier reality navigation. This isn't theory you file away for someday. This is a complete operating system for conscious reality selection. Every piece builds on the last, integrating science, energy practice, and natural magic into one coherent system. Prepare yourself, because what you're about to learn will challenge everything you thought you knew about who you are, what reality is, and what you're actually capable of. Let's begin. 1. Hugh Everett III, a graduate student at Princeton University, publishes his doctoral thesis. His advisor is John Wheeler, one of the most respected physicists of the 20th century, the man who coined the term black hole. Everett proposes something so radical that most physicists dismissed it immediately. He said, "What if Schrödinger's cat isn't in a superposition of alive and dead until we observe it? What if, when we open the box, the universe splits into two parallel realities, one where the cat is alive, one where it's dead, and both versions continue to exist? What if every quantum measurement, every observation, every choice creates a branching point where reality divides into parallel timelines?" The physics community rejected this. It seemed absurd, wasteful, impossible. But here's what happened over the next 60 years. Every single experiment designed to disprove the many worlds interpretation has failed. In fact, the mathematics of quantum mechanics requires infinite parallel realities to make sense of what we observe. In 1982, physicist Alain Aspect performed an experiment that proved quantum entanglement is real. Particles separated by miles instantaneously affect each other, faster than the speed of light. This violated Einstein's theory of relativity, but the experiments were undeniable. Then in 2007, scientists at the University of California, Santa Barbara demonstrated quantum superposition in an object visible to the naked eye, a tiny tuning fork existing in two states simultaneously until observed. And in 2019, researchers at the Griffith University in Australia published findings showing that parallel realities can be measured. They demonstrated that quantum events can have multiple outcomes that all occur simultaneously in parallel universes, and these parallel outcomes can be detected and measured. This is no longer theory. This is no longer philosophy. The existence of parallel timelines is now an accepted interpretation of quantum mechanics, supported by experimental evidence. But here's what scientists won't tell you, because they don't study consciousness. If quantum mechanics creates parallel realities at the particle level, and your body is made of 37 trillion cells, each containing trillions of atoms, all governed by quantum mechanics, then you exist across infinite parallel timelines right now. Every choice you've ever made created a branching point. Every decision created a world where you chose differently. And all of those versions of you are real. They're living, they're experiencing their own realities. And here's the question that changes everything. What if you're not stuck on one timeline? What if your consciousness, which quantum physics proves is non-local, can move between these timelines? What if manifestation isn't creating something from nothing, but shifting your awareness into a timeline where it already exists? But here's where it gets even more interesting. Because understanding that parallel timelines exist is only the first step. The real question is, how do you navigate them? How do you shift from the timeline where you're struggling to the timeline where you're thriving? And that's where most people get lost. Because the mechanism of timeline shifting isn't mental. It's not about thinking positive thoughts or visualizing harder. The mechanism is electromagnetic. Let me show you another experiment that broke the rules of everything we thought we knew about consciousness and reality. Let's get straight to the scientific point that changes everything about how you understand manifestation. Your heart generates an electromagnetic field that is 60 times greater in amplitude than your brain and can be detected up to 3 feet outside your body. And this field doesn't just exist. It encodes information. It broadcasts the frequency of your emotional state into the quantum field around you. In 1993, the Institute of HeartMath began measuring something extraordinary. Using squid magnetometers, the most sensitive magnetic field detectors on Earth, they discovered that when you feel emotions of coherence, gratitude, love, compassion, your heart enters a harmonic rhythm. Not just your heartbeat, but the electromagnetic field your heart generates. And here's what changed everything. This coherent heart rhythm synchronizes your brain waves, balances your nervous system, and creates what they call psychophysiological coherence, a state where your heart, brain, and nervous system are all operating in harmonic resonance. Dr. Rollin McCraty, the director of research at HeartMath, published over 300 peer-reviewed studies showing that this state of coherence increases cognitive function by 35 to 40%, reduces stress hormones by up to 23%, enhances intuitive perception measurably, and most importantly, changes the information encoded in your electromagnetic field. Here are the numbers that matter. Your heart's electromagnetic field extends 5 feet from your body in all directions. It's not just radiating energy, it's radiating information. The pattern of your heartbeat, the coherence or chaos of your heart rhythm, encodes emotional data that other hearts can detect and respond to. Studies at HeartMath showed that when two people are within conversational distance, their heart fields overlap and begin to synchronize. They measured this. When one person shifts into coherence, the other person's heart heart rhythm begins to entrain to that coherent pattern within 60 seconds. But here's the part that connects to timeline navigation. Your biofield, this electromagnetic field, interacts with the quantum field around you. Dr. William Tiller at Stanford University demonstrated that human intention, encoded in a device's electromagnetic field, can change the pH of water by a full point up or down. That's matter responding to consciousness encoded in an electromagnetic field. Your heart field isn't just affecting other people. It's affecting the probability of quantum events around you. And before you think this is pseudoscience, understand your body is 70% water. If your emotional state, encoded in your electromagnetic field, can change the molecular structure of water outside your body, it's changing the molecular structure of you. Every cell in your body is bathed in the electromagnetic field generated by your heart. When you're in chaos, anxiety, fear, resentment, your heart rhythm becomes erratic. That chaos radiates into your biofield, into the water molecules of your cells, into the quantum field around you. You're literally broadcasting chaos as your frequency. When you shift into coherence, gratitude, peace, love, your heart rhythm becomes harmonic. That coherence radiates outward, restructuring the water in your cells, changing the information in your biofield, altering the probability distribution of quantum events around you. You're not just feeling different emotions, you're broadcasting different timelines. Here's what few people understand. The quantum field doesn't respond to your thoughts. It responds to the frequency you're broadcasting electromagnetically through your biofield. And your biofield is controlled by your emotional state, particularly the coherence or chaos of your heart rhythm. Think of the quantum field as a vast cosmic radio tower broadcasting infinite stations simultaneously. Every timeline, every parallel reality is a different station playing a different song. Your desired life, that's a station. Your current struggle, that's a different station. Your biofield is your radio antenna, and what station you tune into isn't determined by which channel you want to hear intellectually. It's determined by the frequency your antenna is vibrating at. If your heart is in chaos, stress, fear, anxiety, your antenna vibrates at a chaotic frequency. And chaotic frequencies tune in to chaotic stations. You'll receive the timeline where things are falling apart, where people disappoint you, where opportunities vanish. If your heart is in coherence, gratitude, peace, love, your antenna vibrates at a harmonic frequency, and harmonic frequencies tune into harmonic stations. You'll receive the timeline where synchronicities occur, where the right people appear, where doors open effortlessly. So let's apply this. If you broadcast anxiety, you tune into anxious timelines, the reality where your worst fears materialize. If you broadcast gratitude, you tune into abundant timelines, the reality where you have more to be grateful for. If you broadcast lack, I don't have enough, you tune into scarcity timelines, the reality where resources are always just out of reach. If you broadcast wholeness, I am complete, you tune into fulfillment timelines, the reality where you already have what you need. The universe isn't personal, it's not judging you, it's not punishing or rewarding you, it's simply responding to the frequency you're broadcasting, matching you with the timeline that resonates with that frequency. And here's the hard part to accept. You can't fake this frequency. You can't think your way into coherence while feeling chaos. Your heart knows, your biofield knows, and the quantum field responds to what you're actually feeling, not what you're trying to think. This is why affirmations often fail. You're saying, I am abundant, while your heart rhythm is screaming, I'm terrified, I won't have enough. The quantum field responds to the heart, not the words. The solution isn't to feel better. The solution is to create coherence, a physiological state where your heart, brain, and nervous system are synchronized, broadcasting a clear, harmonic signal. So what's the solution? How do you shift from chaos to coherence, from broadcasting the wrong frequency to tuning into your desired timeline? The answer is heart coherence practice. This isn't meditation. This isn't visualization. This is a specific physiological protocol that creates measurable changes in your heart rhythm, your brain waves, and your biofield within 3 to 5 minutes. Heart Coherence Protocol for Timeline Navigation. Passo 1. Preparation, 30 seconds. Sit comfortably with your feet flat on the ground. Close your eyes or soften your gaze. Place one hand over your heart center, the middle of your chest, between your breasts or pecs. This physical touch helps you focus attention on your heart. Passo 2. Heart-focused breathing, 2 minutes. Breathe in slowly through your nose for a count of 5, imagining the breath flowing in and out through your heart center. Hold for 2. Exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 6, imagining the breath leaving through your heart. Hold for 2. Continue this rhythm. In for 5, hold for 2, out for 6, hold for 2. This specific pattern begins to shift your heart rhythm from chaos into coherence. HeartMath research shows this breath pattern creates the optimal heart rate variability for entering coherence. Passo 3. Activate a coherence emotion, 2 minutes. While continuing the heart-focused breathing, recall a moment when you felt deep gratitude, pure love, or profound peace. Don't think about it intellectually. Feel it. Remember the sensory details. See what you saw. Feel what you felt. Let the emotion fill your chest. This is crucial. You're not pretending to feel grateful. You're activating a genuine memory of gratitude. Your body knows the difference. Passo 4. Sustain and amplify, 1 minute. Continue breathing through your heart while holding this feeling of gratitude or love. Imagine it growing stronger with each breath, radiating from your heart center outward through your entire biofield, extending 3 to 5 feet in all directions around you. Feel your electromagnetic field reorganizing, shifting from chaos into harmonic resonance. Passo 5. Set your timeline intention, 30 seconds. While in this state of coherence, while your biofield is broadcasting this harmonic frequency, speak or think your timeline intention. I am now tuning into the timeline where specific desired reality. Say it once. Feel it as already true. Then release it into the field. When you do this practice for the first time, it may feel strange, awkward, or even artificial. That's normal. You're learning to consciously control a physiological process that usually runs on autopilot. Your mind might wander, you might feel impatient, you might doubt whether anything is happening. But if you do this consistently for just 5 minutes every morning for 30 days, you'll begin to notice changes. People will respond to you differently. Opportunities will appear. You'll start experiencing coincidences that align with your desired timeline. This isn't magic. This is your biofield shifting from chaos to coherence, from broadcasting one frequency to broadcasting another. And when your frequency changes, the timeline you tune into changes with it. Now, before you rush off to practice this, there's one crucial thing you need to understand about why this works. Because coherence alone isn't enough. You need to understand the architecture of how timelines are structured and why certain timelines are easier to access than others. Let me show you the geometric structure of parallel realities. Here's the next layer of understanding that will transform how you navigate reality. Timelines aren't random. They're organized according to geometric patterns that follow natural laws, sacred geometry, harmonic resonance, and fractal mathematics. In the 1970s, physicist David Bohm proposed something revolutionary: the concept of the implicate order. Bohm, who worked with Einstein and was one of the most brilliant quantum theorists of his time, suggested that beneath the visible, explicate order of reality, there exists a deeper, enfolded dimension, an implicate order where all possibilities exist simultaneously in a state of quantum potential. Bohm said that what we experience as linear time and physical space is just the surface level, the unfolded expression of a deeper holographic reality where everything is interconnected and non-local. In 1982, physicist Alain Aspect's experiments on quantum entanglement proved that Bohm was right. Particles remain connected at a deeper level of reality beyond space and time. Change one particle and its entangled twin responds instantly, regardless of distance. But here's what Bohm discovered that connects to timeline architecture. This implicate order isn't chaotic. It's structured according to mathematical patterns, specifically harmonic ratios and geometric forms found throughout nature. The same patterns repeat at every scale of reality. The Fibonacci sequence, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, appears in galaxies, hurricanes, sunflowers, and DNA. The golden ratio, 1, 6, 18, structures everything from nautilus shells to the proportions of your own body. Fractals, self-similar patterns that repeat at different scales, define coastlines, tree branches, lightning, and blood vessels. These aren't coincidences. They're evidence that reality follows geometric laws. And if physical matter follows these patterns, then the structure of timelines, which emerge from the quantum field, must also follow these patterns. Dr. Nassim Haramein, physicist and director of the Resonance Science Foundation, has mathematically demonstrated that the universe is structured as a holofractal, a fractal hologram, where every point contains the information of the whole, organized in geometric nested patterns. This means timelines aren't infinite chaos. They're organized in nested layers, branching according to harmonic mathematical patterns. Here's why this matters to you. If timelines follow geometric patterns, then certain timelines are closer to your current reality than others. They're harmonically related. They share more similar frequencies. Think of it like musical notes. C and C circus are right next to each other, easy to shift between. But C and F tabs are far apart, much harder to jump between directly. Your current timeline is like a musical note. Your desired timeline is another note. And the distance between them isn't measured in time or space. It's measured in frequency and harmonic relationship. This is why some manifestations happen easily. They're harmonically close, while others seem impossible. They're harmonically distant. Here's what changes everything. You don't have to jump directly from your current timeline to your desired timeline. You can move through harmonic stepping stones, intermediate timelines that bridge the frequency gap. Imagine a vast tree with infinite branches. The trunk represents your point of origin, your birth, your core frequency. As you move up the tree, the trunk splits into major branches, big life decisions, which split into smaller branches, daily choices, which split into twigs, moment-to-moment thoughts and emotions. Each branch represents a different timeline. Right now, you're standing on one specific branch. Your desired life, the reality you want to experience, exists on a different branch. But here's the key. Some branches are connected to yours through close proximity. They're 1 or 2 splits away. Other branches are on the opposite side of the tree. You'd have to climb back down to the trunk and up a completely different major branch to reach them. Let's apply this to real life. If you're currently experiencing financial struggle and you want financial abundance, those are 2 different branches. But you don't have to jump directly from struggle to abundance. You can move through intermediate branches. Branch 1, current. I'm broke and scared. Branch 2, stepping stone. I'm learning about money and feeling more hopeful. Branch 3, stepping stone. I'm taking small actions and seeing small results. Branch 4, stepping stone. I'm building momentum and attracting opportunities. Branch 5, desired. I'm financially abundant and secure. Each branch is harmonically close to the next. Each shift is achievable because the frequency gap is small. But if you try to jump directly from branch 1 to branch 5, the frequency gap is too large. Your biofield can't sustain that level of dissonance between your current state and your desired state. You collapse back to your original timeline. And here's the mistake 90% of people make. They try to force the big jump. They're on the struggle branch, and they visualize the abundance branch so intensely that they create even more resistance. Because while they're visualizing abundance, their heart is feeling lack. Their nervous system is in survival mode. Their biofield is broadcasting, I don't have this, I need this, I'm separate from this. And that frequency tunes them into more struggle, because the quantum field responds to what you are, not what you want to be. The solution is to move through harmonic stepping stones, small shifts, adjacent timelines, moving one branch at a time until you've climbed to where you want to be. So how do you identify these stepping stone timelines? How do you map the path from where you are to where you want to be? The answer is a practice I call timeline mapping. This is a journaling and visualization protocol that helps you identify the harmonic path between your current reality and your desired reality. Timeline mapping protocol. Step 1. Define your current timeline. 5 minutes. Take out a journal. At the top of the page, write current timeline, name it. Example, current timeline, financial struggle and fear. Now describe your current reality in specific sensory detail. What do you see when you look around? How does your body feel? What emotions dominate your day? What thoughts loop in your mind? What patterns keep repeating? Be ruthlessly honest. Don't sugarcoat. This is your baseline. Step 2. Define your desired timeline. 5 minutes. On a new page, write desired timeline, name it. Example, desired timeline, financial abundance and peace. Now describe your desired reality with the same specific sensory detail. What do you see when you look around in this reality? How does your body feel in this version of life? What emotions are your baseline here? What thoughts naturally flow through your mind? What patterns characterize this timeline? Make it visceral. Make it real in your imagination. Step 3. Identify the frequency gap. 3 minutes. Look at your two timelines side by side. Ask yourself, on a scale of 1 to 10, how far apart do these timelines feel? If the gap feels larger than 5, you need stepping stones. The emotional, energetic distance is too great for a direct shift. Step 4. Map your stepping stone. Timelines. 10 minutes. Create 3-5 intermediate timelines between your current and desired reality. Each one should feel like a logical, achievable next step. Name each timeline and write 2-3 sentences describing what shifts in that reality. Example, current, financial struggle and fear. Stone 1, learning and hope. I'm educating myself about money. I feel curious instead of afraid. Stone 2, small wins. I'm taking action. I've earned an extra $500. I'm building evidence. Stone 3, growing confidence. Money is flowing more easily. I trust myself more. Stone 4, opportunities appear. Expanding abundance. I have multiple income streams. I feel secure. I'm generous. Desired, financial abundance and peace. Step 5, activate stepping stone. 1, 5 minutes. Close your eyes. Enter heart coherence using the breathing technique from earlier. Once you feel coherent, visualize yourself on stepping stone timeline 1. Don't visualize the final destination. Visualize the next step. Feel what it feels like to be on that timeline. See through those eyes, feel those emotions. Let your biofield tune into that frequency. Then speak, I am now shifting into the timeline of stepping stone 1 name. This is my reality now. Open your eyes. Take one action today that aligns with stepping stone 1, no matter how small. This practice requires patience. You might want to skip the stepping stones and jump straight to your desired timeline. Resist that urge. Trust the process of harmonic progression. You'll know you've successfully shifted to a stepping stone when your external reality begins to reflect the qualities of that timeline. New opportunities, synchronicities, people treating you differently. That's your signal to map and shift to the next stepping stone. Now here's what most people don't understand about timeline shifting. Even if you map the perfect path, even if you practice heart coherence daily, there's still one critical factor that determines whether your shifts stick or whether you collapse back to your original timeline. And that factor is your nervous system. Let me explain why your body is either your greatest ally or your greatest saboteur in timeline navigation. Let's talk about something most spiritual teachers completely ignore. Your nervous system has its own memory, and that memory determines which timelines feel safe enough for your body to accept as reality. Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, psychiatrist and author of The Body Keeps the Score, spent 40 years researching trauma and the nervous system. What he discovered revolutionized our understanding of how the body stores experience. He found that traumatic experiences and even chronic stress create imprints in your nervous system. Your body literally remembers danger, abandonment, scarcity, rejection. And these memories exist below conscious awareness, encoded in the firing patterns of your neurons, the tension patterns in your muscles, the rhythm of your breath. In 2014, Van der Kolk published research using brain imaging that showed trauma survivors' brains respond to neutral stimuli as if they were threats. The amygdala, fear center, lights up. The prefrontal cortex, rational brain, goes offline. The body enters fight or flight, even when there's no actual danger. But here's the part that connects to timeline shifting. Dr. Stephen Porges' polyvagal theory, developed in the 1990s, explains that your autonomic nervous system operates in 3 distinct states. 1. Ventral vagal, safe and social. Rest, connection, growth, creativity. 2. Sympathetic, fight or flight. Mobilization, survival, stress. Dorsal vagal, freeze, shutdown, collapse, dissociation, depression. Your nervous system constantly scans your environment for safety or danger through a process called neuroception, unconscious detection of threat. And here's the critical piece. Your nervous system will reject timelines that feel unsafe, even if they're what you consciously desire. Research at HeartMath Institute showed that when your nervous system is in fight or flight, sympathetic activation, your heart rate variability, HRV, drops dramatically. HRV is the variation in time between heartbeats, a key indicator of nervous system flexibility and resilience. Low HRV, ZOO, nervous system locked in survival mode. High HRV, nervous system in safety, capable of coherence. Studies show that people with chronic stress or trauma histories have HRV scores 30 to 40% lower than average. This means their nervous systems are chronically stuck in threat detection, unable to relax into the coherent states necessary for timeline shifting. Dr. Porges' research demonstrated that 80% of the vagus nerve fibers are afferent, meaning they carry information from the body to the brain. Your brain isn't controlling your nervous system as much as your nervous system is informing your brain about whether reality is safe or dangerous. And here's the measurement that changes everything. When your nervous system perceives danger, it prioritizes survival over growth. Blood flow shifts away from your prefrontal cortex, rational thinking, creativity, manifestation, and floods your amygdala, fear response. Your biofield shifts from coherent to chaotic within seconds. You literally cannot hold the frequency of your desired timeline when your nervous system thinks you're under threat. Think about what this means for you. Every time you try to visualize abundance while your nervous system is in scarcity mode, you're fighting against millions of years of evolutionary programming. Your body is screaming, "We're not safe. Focus on survival." While you're trying to tell it, "We're abundant and relaxed," your body wins every time. This is why you can do all the right manifestation techniques and still end up back where you started. Your nervous system has a memory of what safe feels like. And if your desired timeline doesn't match that nervous system signature, your body will reject it as dangerous and pull you back to the familiar timeline, even if the familiar timeline is painful. You're not broken, you're not blocked. Your nervous system is doing exactly what it's supposed to do, keep you alive by keeping you in patterns it recognizes as survivable. Here's what nobody tells you. Your body has a comfort zone, and that comfort zone isn't based on what makes you happy. It's based on what's familiar. Even if your current timeline is painful, your nervous system has mapped it as known territory, and therefore survivable. Any new timeline, even a better one, registers as unknown, and unknown equals potential threat to your survival system. Think of your nervous system as a thermostat in your house. Let's say it's set to 65 degrees. That's your baseline, your familiar temperature. It might not be comfortable, but it's what the system knows. Now imagine you want to live at 75 degrees, warmer, more comfortable, objectively better. So you manually turn up the heat. The house warms up. You're feeling good. 75 degrees is beautiful, but the thermostat wasn't reset. It's still programmed to 65 degrees. So what happens? As soon as you stop manually adjusting the temperature, the thermostat kicks in and brings the house back down to 65, back to baseline, back to normal. This is exactly what happens with timeline shifting. You do the visualization, you feel the excitement, you even take action. You start experiencing your new timeline. New opportunities appear, things start flowing, you feel different. You've turned up the heat to 75 degrees. But if your nervous system is still calibrated to your old timeline, still programmed to 65 degrees of scarcity, struggle, or unworthiness, it will automatically pull you back. Not because you're cursed, but because your system is doing what it's designed to do. Maintain homeostasis. Let's see how this plays out. You shift into a timeline of financial abundance. Money starts flowing, opportunities appear, your bank account grows, but your nervous system was programmed in childhood scarcity. The thermostat is set to just barely enough. So what happens? Your nervous system triggers sabotage. You overspend. You make a stupid financial decision. You unconsciously push away the opportunity. You get sick and have medical bills. Something happens to bring you back to barely enough, back to the temperature your nervous system recognizes as normal. Or you shift into a timeline of deep love and partnership. You meet someone amazing. The relationship is healthy, supportive, beautiful, but your nervous system was programmed through abandonment. The thermostat is set to people leave. So what happens? Your nervous system triggers fear. You become anxious, clingy, or distant. You sabotage through picking fights or withdrawing. You unconsciously recreate the familiar pattern of disconnection, bringing yourself back to the temperature of loneliness your system knows. And here's the brutal truth. You cannot override your nervous system through willpower. You cannot think your way into feeling safe. You cannot visualize your way into nervous system reprogramming. Your nervous system doesn't speak the language of thoughts or images. It speaks the language of sensation, physical safety, rhythmic regulation, embodied presence. This is why manifestation fails for trauma survivors, for people with chronic anxiety, for anyone whose nervous system is stuck in survival mode. They're trying to tune into abundant timelines while broadcasting a survival frequency. The dissonance is too great. The solution isn't to get over it or think positive. The solution is to reprogram your nervous system's baseline, to reset the thermostat so that your desired timeline becomes the new normal, the new safe, the new familiar. So how do you reprogram your nervous system? How do you reset the thermostat so your body recognizes your desired timeline as safe instead of threatening? The answer is somatic timeline integration, a body-based practice that creates new nervous system patterns through repeated, safe, embodied experiences of your desired frequency. Somatic timeline integration protocol. Step 1. Establish safety in your body. 3 minutes. Before you can shift timelines, you must first signal safety to your nervous system. Sit or lie down comfortably. Place both hands on your heart or belly. This activates the ventral vagal system through self-touch. Begin orienting to safety in your current environment. Look around the room slowly. Notice 5 things you can see that signal safe. Colors, textures, familiar objects. Listen for 4 sounds that indicate safe. Birds, distant traffic, silence. Feel 3 sensations in your body that indicate alive. Heartbeat, breath, weight of body on chair. This practice, developed from Peter Levine's somatic experiencing work, helps your nervous system shift from threat scanning to safety registering. Step 2. Resource memory activation. 3 minutes. Recall a moment when you felt completely safe, peaceful, or joyful. It doesn't need to be dramatic. It could be sitting in sunshine, petting a dog, laughing with a friend. The key is that your body felt good in that moment. As you recall this memory, notice where in your body you feel it. Does your chest expand? Does your belly relax? Does your jaw soften? Do your shoulders drop? Does your breath deepen? Does warmth spread? Stay with these sensations for 2 to 3 minutes. You're teaching your nervous system what safe feels like in sensory language, not conceptual language. Step 3. Gentle timeline embodiment. 5 minutes. Now, while maintaining these sensations of safety in your body, begin to imagine your desired timeline. But here's the crucial difference from normal visualization. Don't imagine it out there in your future. Imagine your body already living on that timeline. Ask yourself, if I were already living on my desired timeline right now, how would my body feel different? Then, very gently, make those adjustments. If your shoulders would be more relaxed, let them drop slightly. If your breath would be deeper, breathe a little deeper. If your chest would be more open, lift your sternum gently. If your face would be softer, release tension in your jaw. You're not forcing anything. You're inviting your body to sample the felt sense of your desired timeline. You're giving your nervous system permission to try on this new baseline for just a few minutes. Step 4, small dose exposure, 2 minutes. Here's the key to nervous system reprogramming. Small doses, repeated frequently. You cannot shock your system into a new baseline. You must titrate, expose your nervous system to the new frequency in small, manageable doses. Stay in this embodied state for 2 minutes, then stop. Return to neutral. Don't push. Don't force yourself to hold the feeling. Think of it like building muscle. You don't lift weights for 8 hours straight on day 1. You lift for 20 minutes, then rest, then lift again tomorrow. Same with nervous system reprogramming. Step 5, integration through movement, 2 minutes. Stand up. Move your body gently. Stretch, sway, walk around. This helps integrate the new nervous system pattern through physical movement, signaling to your body that this new state is safe to inhabit. As you move, notice if any part of your body wants to move in a particular way. Your nervous system often releases stored patterns through spontaneous movement. Allow it. Do this practice for 10-15 minutes every day for 30 days. That's how long it takes to begin resetting your nervous system's baseline. Some people feel shifts within a week. Others need 60 to 90 days for deep trauma patterns. The key is consistency over intensity. Small daily doses reprogram your system. Sporadic, intense sessions often re-traumatize. When you first practice this, you might feel resistance. Your body might tense up when you try to embody your desired timeline. You might feel anxiety, fear, or even anger arise. This is normal. Your nervous system is saying, this is unfamiliar, and potentially dangerous. Let's go back to what we know. Isu. When this happens, do not push through. Slow down. Go back to step 1. Establish safety first. Spend more time in the resource memory. Only proceed to timeline embodiment when your body signals that it's ready. Deeper breath, softer muscles, sense of ease. Remember, you're not trying to convince your nervous system. You're gently training it to recognize a new baseline as safe. This requires patience, repetition, and attunement to your body's signals. Now, before you think you have the complete picture, there's one final layer that brings everything together, because timeline shifting isn't just personal, it's cosmic. Your individual nervous system is connected to a much larger system, Earth's electromagnetic field. And when you learn to work with the natural cycles and rhythms of the planet itself, timeline shifting becomes exponentially easier. Let me show you why the moon, the seasons, and the Earth's magnetic field aren't just poetry. They're actual tools for navigating parallel realities. All right, as I promised earlier, I'm going to reveal the #1 error that prevents 90% of people from successfully shifting timelines, even when they understand the science, even when they practice the techniques. This error is so subtle, so unconscious, that most people don't even realize they're making it. But once you see it, everything clicks into place. The error is this: trying to shift from a place of lack toward a place of having. Let me explain. When most people attempt timeline shifting, manifestation, or reality creation, they're operating from a consciousness of, I don't have this, therefore I need to get it. There's a fundamental sense of separation between where they are and where they want to be. So they visualize, they affirm, they do the practices, but underneath all of it, there's an energetic undercurrent that says, I am here in lack. My desired timeline is over there, in abundance. I need to cross this gap. And that gap, that sense of separation, is precisely what keeps you locked in your current timeline, because the frequency of I don't have is incompatible with the frequency of I am living it. Here's why this error is so devastating. The quantum field doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you are. It mirrors your current state of being, not your desired future state. When you visualize abundance from a consciousness of lack, your biofield is broadcasting lack-seeking abundance, and the universe responds with More lack seeking abundance. More distance between you and what you desire. More proof that you don't have it yet. It's like trying to tune into a radio station for classical music while your antenna is vibrating at the frequency of heavy metal. You can want classical music all day long, but if your antenna isn't tuned to that frequency, you'll never receive it. This is why people can spend years doing manifestation work and see minimal results. They're trying to shift timelines while simultaneously affirming through their emotional state that they're not on that timeline yet. The solution is a complete reversal of approach. You must shift from the timeline you desire, not toward it. This means embodying the frequency of already being on your desired timeline before you see external evidence of it. You're not trying to get there. You're living as if you're already there and allowing your external reality to catch up with your internal frequency. In quantum physics, this is called collapsing the wave function from the future. You're not moving forward in linear time toward your goal. You're pulling your desired future into your present moment by matching its frequency now. The practice becomes, what would I feel if I were already living on this timeline? How would I move through my day? What thoughts would naturally arise? What energy would I carry? And then you embody that, not as pretending, but as a genuine energetic alignment. You reset your baseline to match your desired timeline, and your nervous system begins to register this frequency as the new normal. It's a subtle shift, but it makes all the difference between manifestation that works and manifestation that keeps you in perpetual seeking. So let's integrate everything you've learned today. First, you discovered that parallel timelines aren't just philosophy, they're quantum physics. The many worlds interpretation, supported by decades of experimental evidence, proves that every quantum event creates branching realities. You exist across infinite timelines right now. The version of you experiencing struggle and the version experiencing abundance are both real, both living, both happening simultaneously. You learned that your heart generates an electromagnetic field measurable up to 3 to 5 feet from your body, and this field encodes emotional information. Research from the Institute of HeartMath showed that coherent heart rhythms synchronize your entire system and change the information you're broadcasting into the quantum field. Your biofield isn't just energy, it's your antenna for timeline navigation. You explored timeline architecture, how parallel realities aren't randomly scattered but organized according to geometric patterns and harmonic relationships. Like branches on a tree, some timelines are close to yours, harmonically related, while others are distant, requiring larger frequency shifts. This is why some manifestations happen easily, while others seem impossible. Second, you saw how your nervous system determines which timelines feel safe enough for your body to accept as reality. Dr. Bessel van der Kolk's research on trauma and Dr. Stephen Porges's polyvagal theory revealed that your autonomic nervous system has its own memory, its own baseline of what normal feels like. Your nervous system acts like a thermostat, constantly pulling you back to familiar patterns, even when those patterns are painful. This is why willpower and positive thinking fail. You cannot override your nervous system through mental effort alone. You learned that your biofield and nervous system must align for timeline shifts to stabilize. If your electromagnetic field broadcasts abundance while your nervous system registers threat, you'll collapse back to your original timeline within days or weeks. Third, you received practical protocols that work with your body's natural systems. The Heart Coherence Protocol teaches you to create measurable physiological coherence, synchronizing your heart, brain, and nervous system to broadcast a clear, harmonic frequency into the quantum field. The Timeline Mapping Protocol shows you how to identify stepping stone timelines, harmonic progressions that bridge the frequency gap between your current and desired reality without shocking your system. The Somatic Timeline Integration Protocol gives you a body-based method for reprogramming your nervous system's baseline, resetting your internal thermostat so your desired timeline becomes your new normal. When you integrate these three, the science of quantum timelines, the energy of coherent biofields, and the practice of nervous system reprogramming, you're not just learning theory. You're becoming a quantum conscious conscious human being capable of navigating parallel realities with intention and skill. You're learning to work with the architecture of reality instead of fighting against it. You're learning to speak the language your body and the quantum field both understand. Frequency, coherence, embodied presence. This isn't about becoming superhuman. It's about becoming fully human, awakening to capacities you've always had but were never taught to use. Now I want to hear from you. Here's my question. Have you ever experienced a moment where reality seemed to shift, where something that felt impossible suddenly became possible, or where you looked around and realized you were living a completely different life than you were a year ago? What did that shift feel like in your body? What changed internally before the external reality reflected it? Leave your experience in the comments. I read every single comment and respond personally. And if you're currently in the process of shifting timelines, if you're applying what you learned in this video, come back in 30 days and share what changed. Your story could be the catalyst that inspires thousands of other people to step into their power. If this content resonated with you, if something in your body said, yes, this is true, then subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. Every week, I bring you new deep dive videos integrating quantum physics, consciousness science, energy medicine, and practical transformation. We explore topics like the biofield and electromagnetic healing, sacred geometry and natural magic, nervous system reprogramming, quantum manifestation protocols, timeline navigation, and reality creation. This isn't surface-level spirituality. This is the intersection of ancient wisdom and modern science, taught by someone who actually cares about your transformation, not just your view count. This channel is for people who are ready to go deeper, who want to understand how reality actually works, and who are committed to becoming conscious creators. If that's you, welcome home. And if you know someone who needs to hear this message, someone who's struggling to manifest their desires, someone who's ready for the next level of consciousness, someone who would benefit from understanding the science behind reality creation, share this video with them. You might be changing someone's life by simply sending them this link. You might be the synchronistic bridge that connects them to information their soul has been seeking. That's not a small thing. That's sacred work. And if you want to go even deeper into timeline navigation, I highly recommend watching the next video that's going to appear on your screen, Quantum Jumping, How to Access Your Parallel Selves for Wisdom and Healing. In that video, I'll teach you advanced techniques for actually communicating with your higher timeline selves, receiving guidance, downloading skills, and integrating the wisdom of versions of you who have already solved the problems you're facing. Or check out the complete playlist on quantum consciousness and reality creation, linked in the description. There are over 20 videos there, each one building on the others, creating a complete education in conscious timeline navigation. Before you go, I want you to remember something important. You didn't find this video. This video found you. The fact that you're here, that you watched all the way to the end, that something inside you resonated with this information, that's not coincidence. That's synchronicity. That's your higher self orchestrating your reality, bringing you exactly what you need, exactly when you need it. You're ready for this information. Your consciousness called it forward. And now that you have it, you have a choice. Will you remain on your current timeline, or will you begin the process of conscious navigation? Here's what I know to be true about you. You have within you the power to change your frequency. And when you change your frequency, you change the timeline you're experiencing. This isn't magic, it's quantum physics. This isn't wishful thinking, it's electromagnetic reality. You are the observer that collapses wave functions. You are the consciousness that selects which parallel reality becomes your lived experience. You are the creator of your reality, whether you've been doing it consciously or unconsciously. The only difference between where you are now and where you want to be is frequency, and frequency can be changed. Coherence can be cultivated, nervous systems can be reprogrammed, timelines can be navigated. So begin today, begin right now. Do the heart coherence practice for 5 minutes tonight before bed. Map your stepping stone timelines this weekend. Practice somatic integration for 10 minutes every morning for the next 30 days. The universe isn't waiting to see if you're worthy. The universe is waiting for you to match the frequency of the timeline you desire. And when you do, when your biofield broadcasts coherence, when your nervous system registers safety, when your entire being aligns with your desired reality, the shift happens automatically, not through force, through resonance. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay in coherence, stay in consciousness, stay in connection with the infinite field of quantum possibility. And remember, you're not moving toward your desired timeline. You're already shifting into it, one frequency adjustment at a time. Welcome to your quantum awakening.